Hello everyone, and welcome to the Do-It-Yourself Gourmet. Today, we're going to be making a nice, juicy, medium rare skirt steak right here on the stove. We've got our pan heating up. It's been about a minute and a half or two on a medium-high heat. We're going to let it go for just a few more seconds on a slightly higher heat so that we get it nice and ready to sizzle as we drop it into the pan from the plate. Now we've got our skirt steak today, and it's marinated with white pepper, olive oil, salt, garlic powder, fresh garlic from the garden, and rosemary that's going to go down right underneath as we lay that strip of skirt steak down on the pan. Now here we go, it's about hot enough, ready to go. We're going to make sure it's up nice and high. Going to put down that little bit of rosemary right there, and we'll get our idea of what's going on the sizzle. And now we'll take the rest and lay it right on top. That way, the fat renders right into the rosemary, causes the rosemary to fry, and brings out succulent, delicious flavor of the rosemary herb. Now we're going to give this a little spin around, make sure it's not stuck on the pan. Keep that flame nice and high, and you're going to do that for about 2 to 3 minutes on one side, 2 to 3 minutes on the other side, and then we're going to bring down the temperature to about a medium-low. We're going to flip it over once more. Somewhere in there we're going to take the rosemary sprig out if it happens to get sauteed and fried enough. And then, after it's been on low for about 3 minutes, we're going to bring it back up to high and sear it off in the end so that the outside is crisp and sear and the middle is an excellent medium rare. Now it's important to let one side cook with sufficient time so that you're not just searing it and flipping it right over again. When you sear it and flip it right over again, you don't give it time for a caramelization of the protein and fat to occur. We're getting ready to flip it over fairly soon as we're crawling up on that 2.5 minute mark. And what we're going to do is just give it a flip right over in the pan when that's ready. Right about now, let's see how it goes. Flip that pan over, and as you can see, there's been a chance for the outside to caramelize a good bit. Now, what we're going to do is grab a utensil and help this rosemary out a little bit. We're going to give it a little more time under the meat. That'll help bring out the flavor some more, as well as infuse it right into the steak. Now we're going to let that cook. We want to keep it nice and juicy, as well as heat up the meat so that the middle cooks as well without scorching the exterior. So, in this minute and a half that we're going to keep it on this side, 2 minutes or so, we're going to have that cover on, because we want the ambient temperature of the beef inside the middle to start raising up. That's how you get a medium rare without scorching the outside. You got to work with the ambient heat around it and allow the temperature to work with you instead of only on one side at a time. Now as the pan heats up, you're going to want to taper off the fire just a tad. You can bring down the heat a little bit so that it doesn't scorch, but make sure during the course of things you give that steak a nice little move around. And be careful that the oil doesn't catch on fire in the process. There we go. That is what we're going to do. And now we're going to bring it down to a low heat. And we're going to give that about 2.5 minutes on low heat. Now this fire's had a chance to stay on low for coming upon 2 minutes now. We're going to let it go for about another half minute, and as we do that, we're going to bring the heat on the fire back up, because in this finishing process, we're going to sear it off nicely, as well as keep those juices on the inside. Now with the lid We take it up to high heat again. Let it get nice and high under there. And at this point, you probably want to pull the rosemary off. It's just about done. Put that on a plate for a nice delicious garnish. And let that heat get up nice and high and get ready to flip it over once more and finish off that caramelization. Now let's move it around. Give it a flip. There we go. Looking good. Rosemary's smelling good at this point. Do let the marinade season about 30 minutes ahead of time if you can. Now we're going to leave that open just a little bit. As we finish it off, give it a touch to make sure we know where the cooking point is at. Use a thermometer if you like. And when it's time to finish it, we're going to shut that fire off and put the lid back on for just a couple of minutes. We're going to allow the carryover cooking to do its work, as well as the resting process that will help make the meat far more tender and allow for that perfect medium all through the middle. Shut that fire off, let that steak rest, make sure it's not pushing down on it too much, and then go ahead and take it off the hot flame and the hot fire area. Now after letting it sit for about 2.5 minutes, it's allowed itself to finish the carryover cooking inside of its own juice, and it's created itself a beautiful little au jus sauce that came right out, worked with the caramelization, and made for a great skirt steak. Next, we'll see the slicing, because we want to save that as much as we can and not have it soak into our lovely cutting board. So we give it a little drip, drip, drop. Turn the steak, get it ready to cut. And here we go. A well done steak will have a beautiful pink inside that is not overcooked. And as you'll see when I spin this around, that is exactly what we have with this skirt steak. Do it yourself gourmet, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.